This is the sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shouting loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Folks are.
All right, guys.
Welcome to another episode. Well, no, not just another episode. A Deidre Viney episode of the of the Eric Dawson Show. Rainy Deidre Viney Day today. Hey, Deidre, do you know how committed I am to you?
Oh, you're so sweet.
I had to go shopping this morning at like 6:30. I was out of the house. Had to make my Walmart run. I got to make my Walmart run before the Walmart people make their Walmart run. If you have been to Walmart, you know what I'm talking about.
The Walmart, yes.
Yeah. So, but the Walmart people are not up at 6. Well, I got, they open at 7. So I was there by 7:15. And I go to the one way out. I'm not even going to say where it is. No Walmart people going to go there. But anyway, coming back, it was pouring down rain. And I had my windshield wipers going, had my defroster on, and I'm like, I got to get home, get set up for Deidre Viney Day. So here we are. A little soaking wet, but we're here for her to drop some jewels. And Diane.
This is all virtual, Eric. You could do that in the car. You could do it at Walmart.
No, I don't want to do. No, I don't want to do
that. Pushing your cart down the aisle.
Hey, Diane. But before we get into Deidre Viney, Diane, you posted something about Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. But listen to this. Did you hear that?
No. Oh God, you just popped one open.
You just popped open a Schlitz.
I'm making Pabst Blue Ribbon, but apparently now they are, and they're infusing it with THC, which should be interesting.
Oh wow. Well, we're gonna get it. We'll get into that in the next half an hour.
Yeah, 'cause that's nothing new. People have been getting high and drinking beer for a while.
Hey, getting high and drinking beers like chicken and waffles,
Yeah.
like fish and hot sauce.
Oh, not
like-
that we know that personally, but we heard.
I'm sorry. Oh God. Okay, wait a minute. Before we get into it, Deidre, can I ask you guys a question? You and Diane. How important? It's a two-part question. How important is the size of an engagement ring?
It's not. Well.
Deidre said, "Hold on now." said Diane, don't speak.
Does size really matter?
You know what? I know people are superficial with that, and I guess I get it to a certain extent, but you have to figure out the person's budget. You have to figure out what's important to you. Some folks aren't into jewelry like that. So, I've seen super beautiful small rings, and I've seen, ridiculously humongous gaudy rings. And so you just got to figure out what you like. I've actually have a friend who has a pearl because she doesn't like diamonds.
See.
So I think it all depends on the person.
All right.
So is the ring for the person or is the ring for the person's association?
Say that again. Are you saying, is it for them or is it for show? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
It should be for them. And I don't think it should dictate a person's love for someone because of size.
Mm-hmm.
It's a piece of jewelry. It's a commitment that you're making to each other. So
Right.
That's my take.
I think more than the brilliance of the jewelry should be the brilliance of her big smile because she is engaged to the man that she loves.
Exactly. And identifying what someone likes, as you just like a piece of clothing or something you like to buy someone. I think that asking them what they like, I think is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can get an idea because they're gonna have to wear that ring forever.
Hopefully forever, right?
You can get an idea of what.
No, my wife, she's on a 5-year upgrade plan.
Oh, okay. Well, you have those too.
So here's the thing, right? Because as you guys know, I recently got engaged, and I guess every guy has their, as they're pondering what ring to get and all that other kind of stuff. I had, my mother and my sister, kind of talking to me about, you know, um, some of what you just said, Deidre. Find out what she likes. She's gonna have to wear it. Budget is always key. But they emphasize that it wasn't about everybody else, right? It was a personal thing between the two of us. But in talking to people outside of those two sensible people, right? You get everything from everything else seems to center around everybody else, right? So the ring is really not, which is what Vincent was alluding to. It's not for us, it's for everybody else, and what impression you want to leave with people about who you are, what your worth might be, what her worth to you is based on the size of the ring, like all of these other factors, right? Which, again, these comments came from a circle of people outside of my mother and my sister who I value immensely. But it's out there, right? And I have friends who took those kinds of things into consideration. And beyond that, after they gave the ring to the woman, she echoed some of those sentiments, which kind of made the hair stand up on the back of my neck because I'm saying, wow, is it about that, or is it about the fact that he loves you and wants to marry you? Like, are you so focused on your girlfriends and people you don't even know and what they may say and think about what he gave you, as opposed to like Mark says in the thing, that it should be about sentiment, right? And that this guy gave you something that signified how much he loves you and wants to spend the rest of your life. So I just thought that the balance sometimes can be off.
Well, a lot of people give input, but they don't want to give money towards the ring. And then I know a lot of women who have huge rings that are divorced.
Oh, hello. They say, there it is. And I know someone that don't have any ring and they've been married for 40 years.
Yep, there you go. Well, let me give you a quick story of why my wife has the 5-year plan. When I met my wife and fell in love with her, I was in the midst of a huge divorce, a large court case, and a lot of partners because the real estate market was starting to tank then. So when my wife met me, the only thing I had between my left and right pocket was the crack of my behind. And I gave her a string and wrapped it around her finger and asked her, would she marry me? And she said yes. So I do it not because she wants me to, although she does love it, because the ring is just a symbol to me of the love. But I do it because my wife and what she has given to me and her love and her support is so much more than the size of that ring. So that's why I do it. I don't know about anybody else.
That's beautiful, Vincent.
I feel like we're open up. Good answer. Good answer.
Well, when you interview my wife, she'll tell you that story. I hope she's kind.
And you may be on a 2.5-year plan. You may have to upgrade more frequently.
Well, my mother was like, you should. You know what that poor woman put up with living with you? You be...
Oh, gosh. Oh, man.
But here's a segue. So, Deidre, so men who are looking to get engaged and are employed, how about some tips on how they can stay employed?
So you don't have to hock that ring right after you, right? And that's something, right? You buy the ring, then you lose your job. You got to hock it to pay rent.
Yeah,
Oof.
so we'll talk about my other thing next week. So, we can talk about that, Vincent. So how to keep your job, that's what you're referring to. How to make your, if you got a job, you want to be able to afford nice things and keep your family happy. The number one thing is, first of all, you got to get to work. I know that sounds so obvious. But you have to show up to show out. right?
Mm-hmm.
And not just be there on time. We have situations people don't take jobs seriously. I know I have a staffing agency, as you guys know, and sometimes that's some of my frustration is that people think we have, I'm not going to say fake jobs. It's just kind of they don't take it as seriously, but a job is still a job.
Right.
And you never know what kind of opportunities can present itself if you can get to work on time.
Mm-hmm.
At the time you're supposed to be there is a really important one. And then the second one is just to put your best foot forward. Work hard. Ask the manager if there's anything else that you could be doing to help advance the company, whatever role you're in. But don't be complacent, because that when you're sitting there doing your same thing every day, that's fine. But is there something else you can be adding value to the company? So it might just be something that's obvious, or it might be something where you're going to raise your hand and say, "Hey, can I help with this?" So that it shows as you are kind of willing to do the extra mile with the company.
So is it true that people have this arrogant sense of entitlement with work, that they feel like, the boss should be lucky that they show up and don't worry about being on time?
I hope not. I hope not. Being on time is still critical. Maybe you don't have the kind of job where you have to open the door and lock, retail, where you have to let people in. Those are ones you obviously have to be on time because people are dependent on, they want to shop. But there are other roles you would think, no big deal, I can get there whenever I want. But that's still a critical way of showing that you take this job seriously, that you can be on time and be ready to work, because things happen at the company, and if your boss is there, he might need you for something, and then you're strolling in 10, 15 minutes later. We all have personal issues. We all have traffic and, family matters, and I get that. But it just can't be an ongoing sort of saga, if you will. You want to try to keep that job.
So 9:20 shouldn't be your normal time when you're supposed to be coming in at 9 a.m.
Exactly. Or maybe you need to adjust your hours. I've had a situation like that too, where I've had an employee where there was something or another going on, the buses, the traffic, something, and it wound up being that the person said, what if I just came in a half an hour later, like change the time, instead of an 8 o'clock start, 8:30 start. And guess what wound up happening? They were at work every day at 8:15. So, figure out what works for you so that you don't have situations that are going to be problematic. So that your employer knows that you're taking this job very seriously. You want to be on time. You want to put your best foot forward by working hard. Those are two critical things to keep the job you have.
Well, what you just said is really key, Deidre. I mean, there are a couple things that one of the things that I used to do is try to set the standard, right? So I was always early. Once I got into management, executive management. So if, the time I was expected by, my boss was 8:30, I was usually there by 7:30. It just gave me an opportunity to acclimate myself, right? Check my emails, missed calls, those kinds of things before, I got inundated with, office stuff. And so it kind of said, if I can get in at this time, you can certainly be in on time. But then for the chronically late person, I did do that. I adjusted their schedule, right? So if they were always coming in like 15, 20 minutes late, but they were a good worker, right? Instead of hassling and possibly losing them, I said, hey, listen, you're getting in at, you're supposed to be at 8:30. You're getting in, 8:45, 9 o'clock. Why don't we set your hours now? You work from 9 instead of 8:30. Right. And it made it easier for them. Took a lot of stress off. They were now on time and they were more productive employee. So, there are ways for so when we say keep a job, one is, for the employee to figure out how to keep the job by doing their best to be on time and be productive and all those other kinds of things. But then for the employer, right, to try to manage expectations and try to play to the strengths of their employee, try to give them help where they need it, because they may live at a distance that and this is true, right? You could live in a particular area that leaving at a certain time just may create an hour and a half commute when you're only half an hour away, right? But that window will require you to leave an hour and a half earlier. And if you've got children or other kinds of logistical things that just make it impossible for you to do that, but you have to communicate it though, right? So
Yeah.
you as the employee have a responsibility to communicate those things, not just show up late, right? But to sit down with your boss and say, hey, listen, I'm working really hard to get, but you know what? I'd have to get up an hour and a half earlier to get here. Is there any way for me to change and so maybe that's part of it too, right? You be proactive in talking about the possibility of changing your hours so that you can be on time now and be productive.
Exactly, and imagine the stress of trying to get to work and knowing you're late all the time. That has to be taxing on someone. So I think open lines of communication is important with your manager, so that you can come to work. Won't take you 15 minutes to kind of compose yourself because you know you're late. You're trying to kind of get yourself into a groove.
But that's why you have all that road rage out there, I believe. A lot of it.
That's probably why you have a lot of road
Yeah,
rage.
people like literally white knuckling it to work,
Yeah.
and blowing their horns before the light even turns green.
In fact, time management to some employers is a huge, huge disrespect to them when you are not there and you're consistently late because of that level of dependence that they have on you. And I know when people are first getting the job, they will agree to just about anything for the simple fact of getting a job. But as Eric pointed out, that life brings about a level of reality. Getting children to child care centers. With me, my first job, there were two buses that came. I had to be there at 6 a.m. There was one bus that came at 5 and 5:40 and 6:15. And I'm sorry, 5:45. And I thought that 15 minutes to get to Center City I could do, but traffic always made me, it was inconsistent, which caused me to be late. So I had to take the earlier bus, which means getting up an hour and a half earlier to catch a bus that would get me there, and I'd be waiting on a job for half an hour to start. So, and my boss was not all too keen in changing my time. So I had to make that sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to rope it out, and I know there's not always going to be a right answer to traffic, and because that's just there's so many unknowns to try to get to work. And even if you're taking mass transit, that's just it is what it is. And so I just think if you have open communication and you don't make it a regular habit with your manager, then they can, they should be able to be okay with that. Now that also lends into being flexible, because sometimes you'll have situations where they might need you to work later, or they might need you to work on the weekends, or they might need you to do some extra, task. And that all goes with sort of, being able to keep that job, is how flexible are you to raise your hand to do those certain things, to put in the overtime if needed, or whatever is necessary for that particular role. So that just kind of, these are just notches that help you to build why they need to keep you too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because let's just be honest, companies lay off too. They're still laying off.
Yeah.
And so how can they keep you if you're that flexible person that raises your hand and say, yeah, no problem, I'll stay a little later this time, or, oh yeah, if you need me to change shifts, no problem, I can do that. Obviously within reason, but you're showing that you're that kind of, employee, all the more reason for them to want to have to keep you as you're adding value to the organization.
So part of keeping your job is making yourself a valuable commodity to the employers.
Absolutely. I mean, it has to be a win-win. It can't always be somebody losing. It's got to be a win for you as the employee. You're gaining something from that job. You enjoy going to work. You feel like the job is important to you, and it's a win for the company, because the company has a valuable employee that they don't want to get rid of, and they're adding, to their bottom line. So it's got to always be a win-win. If somebody's losing, that's not going to be good.
Well, it's got to be a bigger win for the house than it is for you, or for the employer and for you. Because as we discussed earlier, the house always wins.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, there may be a temporary lose-lose, but in the end, you're gonna always lose lose more.
Going against the house.
That's right.
You know, so time is one big one. What's next?
Don't complain.
Mm.
Oh.
So we talked months ago or even weeks ago about, you know, it's okay when you start a new job. I think there's one episode we were talking about starting a new job and trying to come in and change things, and that's, you know, you gotta walk on eggshells with that. But if there's areas within your job that you're not super keen on, you have to find a really diplomatic way to talk about it, but not complain about it, because nobody likes complainers. So you want to, you know, there's always, as I love employees that like to say, okay, can we do this differently? This is not working as well. You know, that's fine, because we're having open dialogue. But just say, I don't want to do that, or this is
So
dumb.
can I ask a question? Because this is very very it's a very interesting topic, because everybody deals with it. When you, like Vincent said, when you, or maybe Deirdre said earlier, when you first start a job, you're willing to do anything. You know, you go in there and you're just, you know, both guns blazing. You know, you want to be the best employee in the world. You envision yourself being employed a month, 6 months running. And at the same time, the company that you're working for presents itself during the interview process as being all put together, right? So you're thinking, oh, man, this is a great company. I interview with all these people. They're doing great things. And then you get there and you're looking under the hood and you realize it ain't all that it's cracked up to be, right? They kind of embellished about how organized they were and, you know, how together they were. And, you know, you embellished about how organized and what a self-starter you were. So now those two things clash. And you want to change and do things differently. Some of it you're picking up from previous jobs, Deidre, right? How you did it at your last job and how you thought that it was effective. But now you've got people at this job who've been there for 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, and they've kind of gotten real comfortable with how they do it, even if it's not efficient, right? But the boat's not being rocked. They get a check every 2 weeks deposited into their account. Nobody's really complaining about anything. And you come in and say, hey, we can be more efficient if we can do this. What kind of problems does that cause?
Yeah, it can cause problems.
Yeah.
Because they were used to doing it that way, and you might be right. But that's why I said eggshells, because they, you know, some people do get complacent at a job, and that's why I like new eyes that come in, because they might look at something with a completely different lens, and you might say, oh, I didn't even think about that way. So they should be open to it, but you just have to be super careful with how that, you know, who you're bringing that information to. Is an employee, is management, and if you're the new kid on the block, and they might say, well, we tried that already, and that's not going to work that way, or you know, or they may not even, you know, find value in it yet because you don't know all aspects of their job, you know, in what you're saying. Or, like I said, I think that employers should take, all ideas and at least, you know, run through it and see if it makes sense, because you just never know where you might get a really fantastic change, and this is the newbie that's been there for a month or two.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that it's still key, if you're the new employee, to just be observant when you're first coming in, and know the personalities of the people that you're working with, because to your point, someone's been there a really long time, and they're kind of complacent in what they're doing. You know, change is hard for everybody.
Yep.
And they may not be super, you know, comfortable with changing anything. They want to keep things exactly as they is, even exactly as they are is not efficient.
Yep. And office politics can be crazy, right? So that person who's been there a while, they sense change on the horizon. That change may be, you know, in their mind, something negative for them that may be a prerequisite to them being shown the door, right? So they're not trying to go for change. And so, and I've seen this. I've been firsthand. I've dealt with it early in my career, and then as a manager, I dealt with the personalities trying to squash it, where that person that we're talking about been there for a long time and is now feeling threatened. They begin to undermine you. And they and because they have a clear understanding of office politics there, they know exactly what buttons to push. They know exactly who to go whisper to. They know all of those things. And meanwhile, you as the newbie, you're green behind the ears. You're just kind of going along. And next thing you know, you're in quicksand and you don't know how you got there.
Well, because you got brown noses who want to get a feather in their cap by putting crap on you. Well, I had the same situation with a company that I was with, changing the policy and complaining about it. The shipping was always late, and the politics of the company was that we always used that shipping company because it was owned by the owner's brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
So changing that, and when I did change that, it brought up a huge uproar until they started to see the numbers that said, oh no, you are saving money and you're keeping good customer relations. But if I could backtrack on being on time, when I was in the military, I had a colonel who was saying that if you are on time to show up for an exercise, a position, or anything, you are truly late. He said you should always be at least 15 minutes early.
Yeah.
But the politics and the nuances, especially you being a new guy, is something that you have to navigate. And complaining sets you up for being, as Eric said, undermined and set up.
And you don't know where, and you won't know where it's coming from. You'll just realize one day, because again, I've been there on both sides, but on the newbie side, one day you just realize that you're on the outs, right? Like you're not part of the in crowd. People are, showing up at the coffee urn without you, and the conversations are going, and then things become more difficult. You start getting questioned about stuff, and then you realize, oh shoot, and then you try to reel back on it, and it's difficult because people have already pegged you as being the troublemaker, as being the the complainer, as being the person who's coming in rocking the boat, getting ready to mess up this thing we all have, and soon after that you're gone.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So your thing, Vincent, my son's band teacher always says is early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we talked a little bit about just a positive attitude is another thing that if you're working somewhere now, that's something you need to bring to the plate at all times. I know sometimes it might be tough, depending on if you have a stressful position, stressful role, but a positive attitude can be contagious, right? If you're coming in, saying hello, even if you talked about an account you guys might have lost, but you're talking about it from a positive perspective of how you're going to get it back, or whatever it is, you need to kind of come in and stay with a positive attitude at a job so that you're not the Debbie Downer. And to your point, Eric, about who can he consider, to be the next to go? It might be that person that's negative, that's complaining. That no one, who wants to be around that?
Yep.
Well, no. Can you give me some clarity on this?
Okay.
Because I'm one of those, 3 cups of coffee, positive attitude, Mr. Sunshine, and I run into a lot of people who truly can't stand that.
Well, maybe you're around the wrong group of people. Who wants to be around people that are down and negative?
Misery loves company. They love it.
Well, so it depends on what you define as. So it could be, because yes, misery doesn't enjoy company, right? So But so if you have a bunch of people who, for whatever reason, are down, right, and you come in and it's perceived as if you're smearing in their faces all of your joy and happiness, yeah, there'll be resentment, right? 'Cause- yeah. So if that's what you're talking about, certainly,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, but that's different, right? Then because part of being positive and upbeat means that you're uplifting people too, right? And that they don't feel at the point that you walk out of the room that you came in and smeared all your sunshine on their cloudy days, right? And they were none the better for it. So I think part of what Deirdre is saying is that personality has to be an uplifting one for other people as well, right?
No, yeah. I mean, the resentment is, how dare you cheer me up? I'm comfortable in my grief and misery. I want to be down because down gets me all that attention of, oh my God, he's down, he's depressed. Oh, look at him. Woe is me.
Yeah.
Or maybe people just see the bullshit straight ahead and they just decide that you shouldn't have been invited to the party.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Well,
I
but
don't consider being positive BS unless you're going up against somebody who is just truly, in a funk.
yeah, but sometimes, but I think what Diane, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but what I'll say is this: if I'm, because you don't know why I might be in a bad mood, right, or down, or in a funk, and so you may come in and have all good intentions, but if at the end, I'm dealing with whatever I'm dealing with, sometimes allowing me to do that in a graceful way, as opposed to being pushy about trying to pull me out, might be better, might yield better results, right? So I'm grateful for the fact that you came and you tried. I'm working through this. I'll I'll get through it, and then we can move on to that better sunshiny day. So there are ways to do it, is what I'm getting at. And so you can garner resentment if you are ignoring in your, because you have a right to be happy, and you should be, and people should be. But if you're ignoring the nuances that might have led to whatever the other mood is, is what I'm saying. So there's a lot, and again, in a workplace, it's a lot, and to be just real careful with it. I mean, I've walked into rooms, happy go lucky, and you look at people and everybody's sitting around a table, and you realize, like, oh shit, something's going on. Well, yeah, and then in that moment, right, what do? Do you become the arbiter of good moods and and try to force that on everybody, or wish them all well and go back to your office and get your work done? Is kind of what I'm saying.
I think to Deidre's point, it's more like, okay, be positive and be polite.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, but it's even more than that too. I think just an attitude, like I mentioned, like you lose a big account, instead of just being down and out, let's find a way. Let's be positive. Let's find a way to get that account back or get other accounts. Not just be, oh goodness, oh now we're all gonna, we're gonna lose our jobs and we lost that big account. Like having that energy that's needed to propel the company forward, I think is a big part of what I'm saying about the being positive.
Got it.
So be supportive and as Eric said, uplifting.
Right. Also, being a team player, I know that's super cliche, and people say that because it sounds good, but really being a team player is pitching in when needed, is asking, if when you notice a team member might be, having a bad day, seeing how you might be able to support them. Think of ways that you can, if they're struggling in one area, offer to do something else that can take something off their plate. Like really being there and showing and demonstrating that team effort, instead of just like I see it on resumes all the time and people talk about it, but you got to have some real clear things that you're doing to help, and vice versa. They'll do the same for you if they recognize that.
Did you sneeze? Was that a sneeze?
No, they'll find a way way to find some fault in what you're doing and your help, and then they'll start telling on that too.
Well, then maybe that's the opportunity for the mature person to walk away and stop
True.
to engage, because there's a time on the workplace where you should not be engaging with everybody, because it is a workplace. You're not there to make friends. And sometimes you have to walk away from personalities and people, because the workplace is full of different personalities.
Right.
True. No argument with that one.
Workplace, I tell you, it's filled. A workplace is like a.
Because I have had situations where, want to be the team player. Listen, I know this looks bad, but you can build up your accounts. You can increase your other accounts. Wait a little while. Call the account that you lost. Talk with them about why they were unhappy, and see if you can make some solutions to bring them to happy and bring them back. And, the next thing I knew, I was in front of the boss, and he was saying, don't you ever go and talk to another account that's their account, even though they lost it. I'm like, that wasn't even a part of what I said.
Yeah, but that's what I was just going to say. See, there's so many, the workplace is filled with landmines, right? Because, you may do something with all of the best intentions, but what they say, it's not how you say or do something. It's you can't be responsible for what you say or do, or how people perceive it. You can only be responsible for what you say or do. And so the way that people perceive it, though, is what you have to be at least sensitive to. So in a workplace, folks may look at it as you invading their territory, stepping on their toes, right? That you made some assumptions about them. But you may have had all the best intentions of coming in, trying to cheer them up or trying to help them or trying to give them advice. But a person may not feel like they needed advice. So why'd you come to give me advice? What are you trying to say about me? So, and you may not be saying anything about them. But like Deirdre said earlier, you have to understand the personalities, right? You have to know who all these people are. And so if you're new, it is best to just sit and observe. Don't come out with both guns blazing, trying to solve all the problems and trying to, come up with all the solutions and, fill the suggestion box. Like, don't do that. Just go to work, bring your lunch pail, sit and watch.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
like
that's
Diane
good
said,
advice,
you should
Eric,
just
because
leave them alone.
I think within your first 3 to 6 months when you're on a new job, you should be watching, listening a lot, talking little, and learning, because you're in a new atmosphere and you're trying to learn the politics of the job. Not just the job itself, but the politics of the job. And that's important.
Yeah, I've heard people say, "What is it?" Like literally, they weren't there for more than a month, and they're critiquing and criticizing the way the company is doing things, and they're talking about how, well, when I was here, we did it like this, and but you're not there anymore. You're here. And right now, every 2 weeks when they deposit money into your account, they're depositing into your account to do the job that they hired you to do, not the job you were doing at your previous job that you left because you didn't like. So
Exactly.
understand that, right? And don't bring. I'm telling you, I've seen it, and the quicksand that you land yourself into is real. People sense that, they see it, and especially folks who've been there for a while, who whether they're comfortable and complacent in doing things, or whether the systems that and understand this too, because if you're there and you don't take the time to understand, the person you may be complaining to may be the very person who built that system that you're complaining about.
Not even that, Eric. A wise manager will only give you 2 chances to continue to complain without coming with solutions before the gossip and all of this stuff starts to erode the rest of the department and they fire you. Because one person can kill a whole department.
Yeah, can we talk about that, please? When they say one bad apple can spoil a whole bunch. One person can keep. Oh my God. Go ahead.
Feel the atmosphere, everything. Go ahead.
And energy too. Yeah. It's the atmosphere. Yeah.
And so when you're when you're a supervisor, manager, or whatever, and you've taken the time to build a cohesive unit, and then you sniff some new person that you brought in as being that possible bad apple that could just ruin the entire thing. Didn't I tell you guys the story about a friend of mine? And he watches the show, so but he knows this really happened. He was a creative director for some big companies like IDT and some other places, and he used to hire me to do freelance work for him. And then, I landed a job and became a chief marketing officer and managed the creative department, and he was looking for a job. And so I returned the favor and hired him as a freelancer to do some work. Well, my staff one day came into my office, all of them, and they closed my door. And I'm sitting there working, and I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And they said, we have to talk to you. So what's going on? I'm not going to mention his name, but they said, I know he's your friend, but oh my God, he's horrible. So I said, what's going on? So they told me that, he wasn't paying attention to detail, that they were redoing his work because it was sloppy, but when I got it, it was perfect. So I assumed he had been doing it, right? And so they said, we didn't want to say anything because this was your friend and we didn't know how it was. I said, oh, no. So I called him in with them and I let him go because to me, my staff that I spent all that time building that unit, I was not going to allow this person, it was a friend of mine, to destroy that. And I needed them to understand the level to which I valued them and what they had been giving me for the years that they had been giving it to me. But one person, if you're not careful, can destroy it. And had I not done that, right? I could have had people now looking for new jobs saying, I got to get out of here. This is ridiculous. Eric is showing favoritism. You got to be real careful. Be real careful.
Right. And that's a really tough one, Eric. Thank you for sharing that because that's being real honest when you have situations where you have to do something. And what do? You kind of just deal with it and have this person not be a good performer, even though it's someone you know, or you kind of man up and take care of it. So yeah, that's a challenging one.
Deidre.
Yes, sir.
Office politics. Why is that crucial to keeping a job?
To the point we just talked about, it's you need to get along with these folks day in and day out. So I think it's good for you to sort of know a little bit of the personality. And Diane said you don't have to be friends with them, but sometimes you do make friends with people that are in the office. Sometimes it makes your job easier if you can have good relationships with them. So, you should sort of understand the dynamics of who's there, understand, what kind of things might bother them, so you're not sure to do that. It's a lot of different things when you work with a huge team, even a small team. Like back to that team player thing. What ways are you going to be able to add value to them, and they can do the same for you?
Okay, so does that mean that in getting along with people and people liking you, does that mean that after work you go out for a beer?
That's a possibility if you're building relationships. Why not? Because now they get to know you a little bit better. And it's a comfort level too. And a lot of times at work, it's trust. You guys are building trust with each other. That you can trust each other to get the job done. Mm-hmm. And so why not go out and have a good time, have dinner or a drink to kind of add value to that relationship.
Can I make a recommendation to people?
Right. Sure, Vincent.
So can I?
Okay, or just go out the friendly.
Right.
I don't know what you're alluding to, but.
So there even a couple of things there too, right? But in terms of going out to dinner with colleagues and things like that, right? Not drinking too much and all that kind of stuff we can get into. But I want to make a recommendation to people. Make an investment in yourself. I just looked it up online to see how much it costs. You can go to Thrift Books and you can get it for $7.09. It's a book written by, and you guys will know it when I mention the author's name, Dale Carnegie. Carnegie, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Influence people. Yeah.
Right? Spend the $7.09, guys. It's worth it. It is worth it. Right? And then it is a good book. It should be a Bible to you. And then it will help you navigate all of the things that we just talked about. It's $7.09 at thriftbooks.com. And I don't get paid to mention thriftbooks.com, but it's the cheapest place that I saw it.
In fact, you're right, because I read that book in the 70s. I think I'm going to reread that book.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I found it cheaper than $7.09. I found it for $6.36 at Book Outlet. So now you can get it cheaper, right? But get the book. What were you saying? You read it when, Vincent?
I read it in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I should reread it just to, get reacquainted and freshen up some skills.
Oh, it is one of those books that you should continue to read. There's always something new in it that you'll find, because as you get older, right, you'll comprehend what's in it differently, right? You will have had life experiences that you'll be able to look back on and say, wow, okay, now I understand this differently. And you'll be able to reapply it or apply it, moving forward. But it is, I'm going to tell you, I know we do the book club here, and we should do that.
We do the book club here, Eric? We do?
Well,
we have. We did a book.
We have.
I did the last book. You didn't even read it.
I did read it.
Book club one to do.
Wait a minute, I did read it, Diane.
You did.
Wait a minute, Diane. I read that book. Well, no, wait a minute. Let me take it back. I didn't read it. I got the audio, so I listened to it.
No. The last book we didn't discuss. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Wait a minute. When affirmative action was white.
No, the last book we didn't discuss.
Which was the last book?
We did the book on the last book that we read. We did the book on, I forget the name of it, but one of the concepts was how the Reconstruction was not for black.
No. When affirmative action was white, we discussed it.
Right. Yeah.
We did that book.
Yeah, we did that book. Yes.
But we didn't do the other one.
It's not important because
We didn't do the other. We didn't do the other. We didn't do the other one. She suggests, Eric.
I don't know what the other one was. I'm sorry. Blame it on my senior moments. But we but we should do it. And then, I'd like to, to investigate this book, not only for, in terms of how to keep a job or how to advance within a company, right? Because all of that, if you apply, what Dale talks about, and yeah, we're on first name basis, so stop it. So,
Okay, so learning the politics. What's next and how to keep a job?
Oh, sorry. We talked about friendships too, or even creating, relationships within an organization. It's also, I think, a way that you can get mentors within an organization. Someone that's, a couple steps maybe above you that can talk with you about how you're going to be able to navigate within this organization or even within the role. So look and identify and see if you can seek out those folks within your company that can mentor you.
Mm-hmm.
What is the importance of having a mentor?
Because it can help you navigate kind of what you're dealing with. We talked about, politics. It can help you navigate your job. It can help you navigate your career path. Someone to, be a sounding board for what you're trying to do. Lots of different reasons. So those are just two I can think of off the top of my head.
Now, you're talking about a mentor within the company or outside of the company?
Within the company.
Yeah. I think that having...
If it's a big enough company, sure.
Yeah. See, and part of how to win friends and influence people, right? Getting a mentor inside of the company is valuable because one of the things that he talks about is making people feel important, right? So what makes somebody feel more important than asking them to be your mentor? Think about that. They take ownership in you, right? And so as you're building your network within the company, right? And if you start to build that infrastructure of your network with people like that who are invested in you, when those rocky moments come, right, you can depend on them to help you, and in some cases save you when the company is, they're cutting positions and things like that. You'll have your mentors running to help save you because they've made that investment in you.
Now, Deidre, you talked a lot about advancement and stuff like that. There are people that go to jobs that aren't looking to advance. They are just looking to do their 9 to 5, make their money, and leave. What do you talk? How do you speak to those people who should be just learning to master their position, that are not interested in being a supervisor or advancing? They're just happy where they're at.
And that's okay too. But I think a lot of the points are still being on time, offering to help, being positive. All those things still lend itself to, even if you're really happy where you're at and you just like to come in and clock the pay, the time clock and leave when you want to leave. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone needs those individuals too. If you feel that you're doing the best job that you can, but just think about, I'm just kind of trying to say, if you want to not be expendable, because every job is expendable.
You want to be valuable.
And so even if you're you're super comfortable where you're at and clocking every single day, just think about, if you do get let go, what can you do next, right? Or how can you cement your job that you're in now so that they feel like they don't need to expend you? So, all those things, you still got to do the regular stuff that everyone has to do. Get up, and get to work on time and do the best, put your best foot forward.
See, part of the challenge, Diane, and I had this conversation this morning. A friend of mine was told that, and I believe that the company really just wants her to quit so they don't have to pay the unemployment insurance. But they called her in last week and said they were cutting her salary by 40%. Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
She could still get unemployment for that?
Right. So, well, she may investigate that, but they're cutting it by 40%. They really want her to go. And so the conversation that I had with her, and I realized this a long time ago, and I know this kind of runs contrary to some of the things that we talk about here, but it's something that is real, right? So you got to balance these things. You got to understand, at the end of the day, all the work that you put into this company is still a company that is focused on generating revenue, and that revenue pays the salaries of the people. But the people only have value to the company in as much as they are commodity to the wealth generation of revenue for that company. And so a big part of, because I was on the rah-rah teams, right? To tell folks, we're a team, we're a family, we got to pull together, we got to work together. It is to get you working and focused on producing for the company. That's what that is. It's theater to do that. And so to Deirdre's point about the person who's content with just coming in and doing their job, you got to understand that company is always evolving, right? And as it does, it may evolve you out of an opportunity. And so you should always, even if it's in the way recesses of your mind, be thinking about an exit strategy in the event that happens. Because the last thing you want, and I've seen this, where people who just for some reason thought they'd be there forever. So they never had a thought that they wouldn't be at that job with that company. And then all of a sudden they get called in human resources and they let go. And their lives fall apart. You have to keep a healthy perspective that it is a job, it is a company, and this is the purpose of the company, this is your purpose there. But that may come to an end. Right? So I'm not saying that you go to work on the edge of your seat being paranoid and all those kinds of things. But you have to keep a healthy perspective.
If I can add to what Deidre was saying, one of the things that, and we're looking at a situation where, there are a lot of jobs posting, but also there are a lot of jobs laying off. And one of the things that Deidre said is that you have to make sure that you are not expendable. And a lot of people, employers, when they're looking to lay people off, they've got people who come in, but they've been there for 9 years and they're still pasting labels.
Yeah.
That means that when it's time to lay off, because they only do one thing, that makes them expendable versus a person who is eager to learn and to do and to find, and who has a mentor and been plotting his goals and everything, and who's willing to do multitask, including the label job and his job. That person who just comes in and just wants to do this thing for that check, they become, as he just says, expendable.
Yeah. What is your value to the company? Be an asset, not a liability.
Right.
Right?
I mean, and companies love employees that are dedicated and that they can rely on. You know, those are key things. But to your point, Eric, that there's goals that organizations are making, and sometimes where do you fit within those goals? If they're trying to grow sales, and you're just kind of really comfortable at this level handling this amount of accounts or whatnot, or just kind of clocking in and clocking out, you know, where do you fit into that, you know, longer range? Because you're either growing or you're dying.
Yep.
You know, in any business. So if your employees are just kind of humdrumming along and not helping the growth, then you may not be there long. You've got to be able to add something to that bottom line on an ongoing basis, and be willing to change and grow, because change is difficult, and for anyone, even a company's changing. You've got to be able to change with it. So let's say you get to the point where you talked about your jobs and you're happy there, and then you're not happy. What do you do next? And that's where you just kind of, last part of my talk today is just keeping yourself out there and keeping your skills up to date, keeping your contacts up to date, because if you're unhappy, you need to just find something else, and plan your departure while you're working, and not necessarily while you're, you don't want to get laid off and that you're kind of grounding, trying to find a new job. It's better to find a job when you have a job.
So you shouldn't update your resume in terms of keeping a job. You should not update your resume while being on your present job.
Not while you're there.
Yes.
But at home you can. I mean, you talked about this. I won't even go into the social medias. I know we talked about it ad nauseum, but
right.
Social media and using a company's computer and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't hurt to keep your resume up to date, because you don't want to be in a position where you're sort of scrounging if you do get laid off. So just it doesn't hurt to keep it on LinkedIn. It doesn't hurt to keep it out there, so that if you are truly unhappy or looking for other opportunities, you can be poised to get a new one.
Good point. So, if we're ready to recap, the jewels of Deidre Vining for today is, first and foremost, be on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, it's unacceptable. Did I miss something in that? I feel like I missed something in that.
The early is on time. On time is late.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and late is unacceptable. Yes. And it's a disrespect to your employer when you're consistently late. Second, don't complain. Don't criticize and critique. One person can kill the mood of a company. Next is positive attitude. Be supportive, be a team player, pitch in. And at Diane's point, spend at least 6 months to learn the job and the politics. And diving into the politics of the company is know the people, build trust, build relationships. Get a mentor. A mentor is important in helping you navigate the politics and the personalities, navigate and get you a higher level of success in performing your job, to point you towards your goals with the company and help you with your advancement. Let's see. Next, be dedicated and reliable. You're either growing or you're dying. Companies are changing, and you have to change with it. And finally, exit strategy. 1, don't use the company resources to update your resume. Stay off of social media in terms of areas in which you are searching or putting your name out there. And what was the last one? I didn't get that one. Or did I get it?
I think that's it. I think you got it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Alrighty. How to stay employed so you can buy that diamond ring to make your future wife happy.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I think those are all good things. And if people, and buy the book. Go get that
And
book.
buy the book.
Please.
Dale Carnegie.
Please get that book.
I promise I have it read by next week. I have read that book a couple of times, but that might be, maybe we can pull some nuggets out of that over the next couple of weeks once I kind of find it in my bookshelf somewhere. But it's a really good book.
It is. But I think that all of these are great things for folks to consider. And I have no doubt that if folks did do this, they would have a greater deal of success in the workplace.
So, Eric, I just want to mention a couple of jobs that I have.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
It changes week by week.
Uh-huh.
So I've got an office clerk position in Newark open right now.
Oh, wow.
I have a personal assistant position also open in Newark. I have a data entry clerk available in Kearney.
Okay.
I have a porter position in Jersey City, first and second shift. I have a chemical operator position open in Newark. I have a lot of Newark stuff for some reason. I have a maintenance mechanic position open in Newark.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, I have like 6 or 7, I've lost track, forklift drivers. Newark, Jersey City.
Come on, forklift drivers.
Kearney. I can't have enough forklift drivers. If you have forklift experience, I should be able to get you working. Because I have a lot of different opportunities for that open.
Yo, man, I may go get my forklift license, man. Get me a graveyard shift job driving a forklift, lifting.
So they're all listed on our website. I'll tag the link here. Actively looking for people. We're getting really, really busy. It's great, but if you're out looking for a job, consider a staffing firm such as Express to help you get working.
Ex-offenders are being released now at a little faster rate. Any of the jobs ex-offender friendly?
Yes, we have tons of offender-friendly positions open. Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. And how can people find you, Deidre?
They can find us on our website, expresspros.com/Jersey City. I'll put the information here. They can also call us at our office number at 201-333-8400. Check us out online. Look at our jobs. We're also on Facebook. We post our jobs on Facebook as well.
And as always, Deidre, I'm hoping that we can get some level of this virus, getting us at a comfortable level so I can receive your pineapple upside down cake.
I didn't even talk about the bacon, but I'm going to get back. I did get back to the bacon, Eric. I forgot to mention it to you. My daughter didn't want to help, though, so I didn't take any pictures. So I made apple pie this weekend. We have an enormous amount of apples from apple picking. So I'll be making all kinds of apple things in the next couple of days. Apple cobbler, apple crisp. I made some, applesauce. So, yeah.
A little hard apple cider happening?
Not apple cider yet. That should be a possibility, too.
Okay. All right. Deidre, a woman of multiple talents.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deidre. All right. That was great information.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got to tell you that one of the things whether I was just, a staff employee or whether I was in management, is having a newbie come in and start critiquing what you're doing, because to some extent, right, their critiquing is perceived as devaluing the investment that you've made. Now, you may not have been perfect in what you built, but it's functioning, right? And the business is going, so much so that newbie was attracted to coming and working there, right? So whatever it is that you did, you built it up to that, and along with your coworkers. And so for the newbie to come in and essentially say through their actions and words, oh, you should change this or you should change that, again, just doesn't give the proper
Respect.
reverence, yeah, respect and reverence to the hard work that might have been put in. So to Diane's point, given 6 months of just basking in the in the work that was done, that is now paying, that was paved, that is now paying your salary. Just enjoy that for 6 months before you start criticizing and critiquing.
And a tribute to it, one of the things that, especially if you're an atypical personality and getting a new job, you're on fire, you're ready to make the change, you're ready to make your mark in the corporate world, you're ready to, put all these new ideas and innovation into a corporation. So yeah, learning the politics is important because you can, like Eric was stating, you can rub some people truly the wrong way. And this is from my own personal experience.
Yeah. So now, shifting gears, hard shift. Oh gosh. I don't know. I know we want to talk about, we've got 21 days to election day. We've got the president, living in the glow of love.
I think it's more the effects of the drugs.
I don't know if you saw what I posted. He said he's feeling powerful. So yesterday, I think he had a glow. And today he's feeling powerful. So powerful that he said he wants to go to the next rally and kiss all of the men and women. Because, that's what presidents do. They don't hide. And so, yeah, there may be time for a drug test, at the White House. So,
Well, looking at some of the response on Twitter, a lot of people, especially people who have experienced the COVID virus, and people who have family members who have fallen victim to the COVID virus, they consider the president's action a huge slap in the face. Because no one in the world but him or people of high power have access to the greatest medical.
Well, that is the thing, right? So, but it shows his level. It shows his level of disconnect. One, hubris. Two, right? That he believes on some level that, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Marie Antoinette, right? So her level of disconnect, and some people say that she really didn't say this, right? So I don't know if she said it or not. I wasn't there. But you have people who are starving. They couldn't get bread. They couldn't get like the basics. And when she was told this about, all of these people, her response was, let them eat cake. Right? So like, you're going, this person can't get a crumb. And her level of, I don't even know the word, Vincent. I'm lost for words, but it was just let them eat cake. And so for him, irrespective, and I'm not going to lay the 200,000+ deaths at his doorstep alone, right? But he knows that 200 and some thousand Americans have perished, right? He knows that tens of thousands of families are still grieving. He knows that the economy is, in bad condition right now. He knows that people are being foreclosed on and homeless numbers are skyrocketing. He knows all of this. And he says, you know what? But don't let it, wait, what was the term he used? He said, don't let it run your life, but something like, I'm paraphrasing what he said. But
oh yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But it's like, this dude's got Secret Service. He's got the best health insurance. He's got doctors around the clock. He's got all of these things, and so he's telling you to live la vida loca, right? Because he's got this. Not because you have it. Not because you have health insurance. Not because you have these around-the-clock doctors. Not because you have access to everything that he has access to, right? He's saying you just do it in your current condition because he, in his current condition, was able to survive it. And so somehow, some way, without having any of this, you should figure out that you may be okay. I mean, I just thought it was,
Oh, well, it
and at the rally, they said that at the rally, he showed up again with no mask, right? But he was throwing masks into the audience.
This is COVID-19 infected body that they said that he tested negative on.
Right. So I'm trying to understand, and this is why I'm saying, guys, like, and and Jody's probably sitting there going, oh my God, I got him. He's coming over. No, I'm just talking about this guy now, right? Where I said it was easy to talk about him, about these other things that pertains to black people, right? Foundational black Americans. It's easy to talk about Donald Trump, but to talk about our dysfunctional relationship with the Democratic Party is more difficult. So we still got to talk about that. But there are new things to talk about Donald Trump, which are dangerous things because, like you said, Vincent, I mean, some of it may be in medication talking, right? And it's a real thing. And, sometimes the Democrats go overboard, right? So Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them and, just kind of overplay their hand. But we need to have some sort of conversation about what the medication is he's taking, what the side effects of the medication are, how they may alter. Because I'll tell you, I've taken medication that I had to get off of because it did some stuff to me, And so if we've got the most powerful man in the free world on mind-altering medication, right? And he's got the nuclear football traveling with him, right? It could be a problem.
But Eric,
Although I did read that there are all kinds of checks and balances that will prevent that. But go ahead.
But it shows in terms of them out there campaigning and just getting out of the hospital that forced the doctors to let him out. It shows that he is truly out of touch. In fact, he is so out of touch in his last actions that it has now decreased his actual polls yesterday, and this was Fox and CNN. The Trump scheduled to come to Pennsylvania, and his new target now, he has left targeting black men to now he's targeting white suburban women. And in his target, because if you look at it, white suburban women, 50% of them voted for Donald Trump. And we're talking about Democrats as well as Republican women. And now they interviewed 20 of them, and they found that 6 out of 10 said that they would not vote for him because of what he's been doing with the COVID virus. The biggest thing is playing it down. The second thing is having the disease and leaving the hospital not wearing a mask. The third thing is as one woman said, it's disgusting. Him taunting the virus that has killed so many people.
Call it, go.
Hey, good morning, Eric, man. I saw your post this morning on your page, man. This guy is on drugs.
Hey, Will!
I'm talking about, yeah. What's up, Vincent? How you doing today, man?
Right.
It's just the case that I don't know what type of medical advice that his doctors gave him, but how could you are you trying to insult the American country as far as throwing masks at people when you're not wearing a mask? And also, this guy is a perpetrator and a fraud. Okay. all of a sudden he comes out of the hospital. Well, I don't know what the procedures. Taking a COVID test. I've taken two, and I'm negative on both of them. But the thing is that, the Democratic Party, okay, is trying to restore hope in this country, and you have a sitting judge that's being questioned by congressional people right now. His puppet, the Senate, his puppet, okay, is trying to take our health care away in our country. And it's sad, man. It really is. The Trump's puppets. That's what I call them. The Trump's puppets. Mm-hmm. It's just sad, man. I mean, like 200,000 people died, and this guy is the cause of it because he knew back in January what the hell he didn't. He played it as a fake. It's a fake. It's a fake. It's a fake. It's a fake. But it's the true fact, man, that the Democratic Party, we got to get out there and vote. And I read a post today on Facebook that in Philadelphia, that they're paying for room and board and $15 an hour to get out to vote. I don't know if you've seen that, Eric, a post on Facebook, but I seen it earlier today.
Wait a minute, what's happening?
What happened was I seen a post on Facebook, okay, that in Philadelphia, they're paying for room and board overnight workers for the election.
Who is they?
Trump is. I believe the Democratic Party in Philadelphia is. I don't know how. I saw that on Weldon Montague's page. I was going to try to pull it up while we're on the show.
That's the Democratic Party's paying?
Go to it in a few. If you can, as I'm pulling it up, Eric, if you guys can, keep talking about it now. Subject matter, yes.
So you know what? I'm on the. Hi guys. Good morning. It's Jody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Jody.
Good morning, guys. So Eric, I think where you say drugs, nope. I think that's giving him an excuse. I think what it is you haven't been tapped in, right, as you say, for a long time throughout this. But I've been telling you behaviors of Donald Trump before COVID, before this behavior, before the medication of his strange behavior. I do not believe Trump is just being Trump. This is the same guy that stood up and said that we were going to come to their neighborhoods and white women were going to have to be afraid because we were going to bring crime, death, and dirty into their neighborhoods. This is the same guy who said that we grabbed the women's peace.
But Jody, didn't Biden say the same thing? That we were predators?
Biden was talking about the wolf pack and Hillary Clinton quoted them as super predators.
I'm not excusing Biden, right? But even just the language of how you say it, right? So, and if you put it in perspective, so when they were calling super predators, it's when all the wilding was going on. Remember, that was the languaging that young kids in neighborhoods were going outside wilding. Okay, that was the space right now. The president of the United States on the highest pulpit, but for purposes not of even what you may even believe strategically or logically, right? He said it because he could, and just because he wanted to start up the spirit of black folks to rise up a base. We're just talking about the behaviors, right? So I'm just talking about the behaviors. That this man, years before that, in an interview with an entertainment network, said, and I just grab him by the pee. Right?
Jody, if I may interrupt you real quick, I'll let you get back to your conversation. Eric, I just pulled up on Walter Montague's page. For your information, work the Democratic Party pays $18 per hour, stay overnight in Philadelphia until Election Day. Please read the attached wires to additional information. And it says earn up to $900 a week, work now, immediate employment, must be 18 years older, and may be able to walk for long periods of time, must have a valid state ID, must have a working cell number, and it has a number. It says call now 215-220-3913.
Oh, so Will, you're talking about canvassers.
Yeah.
People go out knocking. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's doing up in Philadelphia.
Oh, I thought you were saying they were paying people to vote. I like, oh.
No.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute. It's
The
nine.
Democratic Party doesn't do that, Eric.
Wait. So it's
That's
nine.
a joke, man. That's a joke, man.
So it's $900 a week.
$900 a week, man.
Yo, hey guys, go get that money.
Go get
And
that
it's
part-time job.
215. The number is 215-220-3913, or apply at www.eunton/consultant.com/Philly.
Did you say 215-220-3913?
Yes, I did. 3913, yes.
Okay, great. Listen, on the other end, Trump just got a major slap in the face.
So wait a minute. So back to what Jody was saying. So Jody, you're talking about Trump and Biden in the conversations, or the way that they have described Black Americans. Who's the senator or congressperson that's running down here where you're at?
Say this again. Say that. Say that again.
Who's the Congress or senator that's running down there where you're at?
So I'm Tillerson, baby.
Who is it?
I'm Thomas Tillerson, the dude that also just had COVID and just walked into the chambers today to be at the Senate with his COVID behind. Tillerson.
Okay. And who's running against him?
Black dude. What's his name? Jeffries, I believe.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, because we spend so much time on Trump. It's the ones up under them that's making these decisions and laws. I just wanted to know.
No, and listen, my point to Eric wasn't about the comparison of the two. I just heard Eric say that, he was, saying this dude is on these drugs and it's making him behave in this way. And my only point was, it ain't the drugs.
No. So I think that there's a difference, right? So
enhancement.
No, right.
Bad behavior.
No. So no. I think that you can, because I've seen people who are bad actors, right? And then I've seen bad actors on drugs, and there's a difference. So I'm saying yes, Trump is a bad actor, right? No doubt about that. But I'm saying that what we're witnessing now may be a bad actor on drugs, right? So
No, you know what? Ready? Remember Trump said that his daughter was the hottest thing he had ever seen and then kissed her in her mouth?
Oh, God.
I tell you.
Oh no, well, right. I like I said, I've seen all of those, right? Where he said if she weren't married, if she weren't his daughter. I'm saying I've seen all of that, right? I'm weighing all of it, against what I'm seeing now, and I'm saying that I think that and maybe it may not be the drugs but I think a drug test may reveal some things. It may also be just a drunkenness of power. Somebody's hitting phone buttons.
Oh, sorry. Oh, Eric, by the way, the number that Will gave us, the woman who's canvassing, would you like to talk to her? Who's recruiting canvassing?
Oh, sure. Is she on the phone?
Hold on.
Somebody's hitting.
Really, Vincent, in the middle of somebody talking like fucking.
I'm sorry. I mean, we can always.
But somebody's hitting phone buttons. I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think that Jody, what I'm saying to you is this, that it may be nothing, but I think that at least I'm just talking about what I'm witnessing is that there's a heightened that it's been elevated, that what's been going on has reached DEFCON 10 now, right? And so it may just be the drunkenness of power or perceived power, right? The maybe the coming to the end of the Trump era in the White House. Maybe the COVID-19 may have impacted him, right? It may have affected him. The drugs may have had some, but I'd like to know. That's all I'm saying. And so maybe it's time to do some drug testing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I'm not excusing the grabbing by the vajayjays or the him hoping that his daughter wasn't really his daughter because of how hot she is, or any of those other things. I think that those are all very disturbing, to say the least, right? But I just do believe that there's something. I sense, my spidey senses sense something else.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I got you.
But listen, for all of the people who dare to show up at the rally, catching masks. I wonder if he signed them. Wait, do you remember the video where he was signing something, or he got caught on video signing some? What was that he was signing? And he said, you could put this up on eBay tonight and make a fortune, right? So, right. So, look, he's the Don. He's gangster with it. And I was talking to somebody today who was surprised about all of this. And I said, why are you surprised? I said, we are a reality TV country, right? And he, from the time he came down that escalator after, having a successful run with The Apprentice, he understands ratings. He talked about it during 2016 when he was talking about the debates and how if he didn't show up, the ratings wouldn't be. That's all he talked about were ratings. And that's what we live for. We live for train wrecks, right? When you're driving to work or coming home from work, it's not the side of the road that the accident is on that has the most traffic. It's the other side as they're rubbernecking looking at the accident. So that's what we live in. And so people are dialed in to a train wreck. And not just Donald Trump, but the entire government right now. It's like a 50-car pileup. People are watching it. Oh my gosh. Come on, guys. I'm not shocked. I'm. That's why I tuned out, Vincent. That's why I said to you, I can't. The MSNBC, CNBC, MSN, all of them, and Fox News. It's just too much. So what's going on with the confirmation hearings?
Okay. By the way, I spoke to her. Will was a reliable source and number. She is out canvassing and getting recruiters to canvass, and she said she'll call into the show. What's going on with the confirmation hearings? As Will said, they are now rushing. Instead of solving some of the issues with our country, the Republicans are pushing to get the nominee for the Supreme Court justice confirmed. Mm-hmm. So she is now going before the Senate, in which here is the strategy. Biden's campaign has been pushing their message of the Supreme Court hearing coming up soon with the removal of Obamacare. And
why would you, Vincent? Why would you want to take Obamacare away from people that throughout the country that can't afford health care? I mean, this is the cynical steps of the Trumpsters, I call them. And this woman that's in Barrett, I guess her name is. I think she's a puppet to the puppet master. You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to take innocent people's health care away when they barely can do ends meet at this time during a pandemic?
Well,
that don't make any sense.
The thing that's really hurting her case right now is that she spoke 2 years ago when affordable health care was under challenge and it was upheld by the Supreme Court for the insurance companies calling pregnancy a pre-existing condition. Now, when everybody is coming...
Because I got to get off the phone, right? And that's the only reason why I want to say this, because I have to hang out, right? I have something to do. But I just wanted to say this, right? I watched it all day yesterday, without fail, and I was watching it until I called into the show. I'm very impressed with her. Sorry.
Oh, no, I agree.
When you're thinking about even the questions they tried to pin her on this morning, the first, I forgot not Graham, but his I forgot. Okay, one older woman tried to press her on Roe v. Wade, tried to press her on a few things that her answer was strong and real. Like, I can't change Roe v. Wade because of a prior law that Roe v. Wade actually changed that law. And to change the law, even when they talked about Brown versus Board of Edge, she explained that she couldn't change Brown versus Board of Edge or any of those situations unless a lawsuit came up that the Supreme Court just doesn't go around and say, hey, we're going to start changing some laws around here.
And that is true. But that is
true, Jody. But that is true. But that's a half truth, because right now, coming up to the Supreme Court is the issue of Roe v. Wade, Brown versus Board of Education, and the removal of the Affordable Health Care Act. And I agree with you. The woman is brilliant. However, she cannot change it individually, but she does weigh against the majority rule decision against it.
And you want to know what? And then I'm going to go. More impressed with, because we see so many phony politicians, and we get lied to on such a regular basis.
There you go.
And when pushed about who she was, that she stood with where she was. That yes, I'm not Christian. Yes, I don't believe in abortion. Yes, I wouldn't allow it in my space. I still have to follow the law. I'm intellectual enough, smart enough, bright enough, and fair enough to know that my personal opinions are mine. I will not shuck and jive for you sitting in this chair to make you feel more comfortable about it. All I can tell you is I will follow the law. To me, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Because most of them just don't do that. I gotta go. I love you guys.
Okay. Love you too. But a part two to what Jody is saying. Now, she cannot change who she is and her statements, because that's all over social media, and people have now gotten the information on who she is. And yes, she is to follow the law. But right now, she's heading for a position to change the law. That's what America is fighting for. Now, COVID virus is considered by the insurance company a pre-existing condition. And if they remove Obamacare, in fact, to clean it up, the Democrats no longer say Obamacare. They call it the Affordable Care Act.
Well, that's what it is.
But that's what it is. But the Democrats had the Republicans had villainized it when Obama was in office and named it Obamacare so that people won't, do something by this black man. But now they're calling it the Affordable Care Act, and people are coming to realization that $1.2 million bill for anybody going into the hospital for COVID-19 or related offenses now has to come out of their pockets. That's the big thing that the Democrats are pushing on. The Republicans are saying that the Supreme Court justice does not make the laws. We and the Senate and Congress, we make the laws. No, and that is true. But the Supreme Court justice is the one to write or to upheld or to overturn it. And those bills are already on the docket right now.
And she also refused to answer questions about relating to abortion, LGBT rights, racial discrimination, and affordable health care.
Right.
So, she refused to give her professional and personal opinions on such topics.
Well, because if she did give her professional opinion on those topics, it would not favor her confirmation. And that's just simple. That's just common sense and being smart. Like we talked about before, people will do anything or say anything to get the job.
Right, but that includes the two people running for president and all of the people running for Congress for Senate, right? They do the same thing. They don't answer questions, direct questions that get thrown at them, right? They sit and they dodge them all day long. So that's what I'm saying. So why are we offended that she's doing what everybody else we're doing, even the people we defend? Right? We don't criticize them. Like, we didn't criticize Biden for not answering the question about packing the courts. Right?
Yes, we did.
Who criticized him?
And you
I do.
You even asked me that question directly.
Oh, I criticize them, but I'm saying in general, no, on this show we may, but I'm saying in general, people let slide what they want to let slide when it benefits them. So
when it suits them.
yeah.
And everybody does that. That's
Yeah.
human nature.
Yeah.
And no doubt about that, Eric. One of the things that we also have to look at, oh, by the way, speaking of this, Trump got his biggest slap in the face Friday when his team of attorneys went into now taking it up to Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And it was before the judge appointed by Donald Trump, Judge Rajan. He ruled against him because he said that there should be no mail-in ballot on the grounds of there is political malfeasance and injustice with the ballot. And the judge ruled against Trump. His final saying was, "You're basing your argument on unproven assumptions, and we cannot do that." So Pennsylvania is now going to be a mail-in ballot.
But I'm telling you, I still say that these mail-in ballots are going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
There's going to be a lot of craziness. Remember,
I'm saying,
new
but
territory.
no, of course, I'm saying that it is going to be, it's going to be crazy.
Of course, because right now we are on the new norm. We're on now setting new precedents because of this virus that is changing the fabric of our country. And everybody is now pushing back for the old ways because they can manipulate them. Trump can manipulate the ballots, just like he did before. Trump can manipulate social media, just like he did before. Now with this mail-in ballot, and it's directly into the voters, they cannot exclude them, manipulate them, or change them like they do some of the quote-unquote ballot machines. And all the things that he's talking about in terms of unfair and malfeasance are things that have been done by not only Republicans, but Democrats.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's how we get the same do-nothing Democrats to stay in office.
And to answer your question, yeah, they can do stuff. I mean, we have vote-by-mail ballots that after elections get found in in back rooms that were never counted and all kinds of stuff.
And Eric, even the mail carrier in West Orange, where he got charged with taking people's mail, they found the ballots in West Orange or Orange. That didn't help either. The post office doesn't have a secure way of getting the ballots and mailing them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why we have these drop boxes that we came to county of Essex and throughout the state, where people can go mail their ballots.
That's why they're trying
in Orange. Like here in Orange, we got it at the Orange police station. Like in East Orange, they got it at the City Hall. West Orange, they got it at City Hall and West Orange. But people are voting. People are voting. I think Essex County is going to be the highest numbers throughout the state. Where people are going to vote. Even though this is a blue state considered Trump state. I'm sorry.
No, that's a red state.
This is my language. I'm a Democratic. New Jersey is a Democratic state. That's a Trump state. I'm sorry.
And Trump did not win New Jersey. In fact, that was one of the
because why he's trying. Vincent. Why he's trying to take that privilege away from us? Because he's scared of how the vote count will be in the mail-in ballots. You know what I mean?
Of course. And also you look at the amount of voter turnout and registration has not hit such a level. In fact, it's now surpassing President Obama's first term, where Trump has now regenerated or invigorated the Democratic Party or Democratic voters to get out there to make sure that they're registered and to go out and vote. And the Republicans have their hands full. In fact, they talked to a couple of Republicans, the Republicans who are turning against Trump. They are now in a very precarious situation. The old guard has to either, one, continue on with the Trump train and face losing the election, or turn away from the Trump train and face losing the political support money. But either way, it looks like the Republicans that blue wave that they've been saying may be coming into fruition. Because he has put everybody in that position. You're either going for one or the other. There is and that thin line of undecided and not yet made a decision is getting even thinner. Oh, by the way, another fact that they hit today, the New York Times reported and Forbes reported that Donald Trump's campaign donations are decreasing, and they started to pull back some ads. And Biden's campaign has increased, and he's starting to show more and more ads.
And also, this past Sunday, the Star-Ledger endorsed the Biden campaign.
Yeah,
so,
they did.
That's it's kind of going
So
Democratic way right now, but we got to just keep on the trend of like today, New Jersey. Today is the last day of voting in New Jersey. Today's the last day, so people need to
voter registration.
Vote for voter registration. You can do it online voter registration, or you can do an in-person voter registration. We need to get the vote out, because the bottom line is this: how are we gonna stabilize our country when a guy like Trump sits in that, like Eric said on his post, powerful. He thinks he's a powerful guy, but put it this way: now, 4 years ago, his people down in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Florida carried him now. Now he has the coronavirus thing against his agenda, which he knew back in January, which will reinstate until Election Day, until this guy's out of office. He knew what was going on behind scenes about the coronavirus. He just didn't come out and tell the public.
Oh, not to mention impeachment, paying off a porn star.
Many things on his record. So the record, you can't even compare the Obama record compared to a Trump record.
True. But the big reminder for everybody, because everything that he does seems to fade off, but the big thing that is reminding America every day is that you have to get out there and wear a mask. It does not change. Speaking of change, Trump had an ad with an edited version of Dr. Fauci, and the campaign ad looked like Fauci was endorsing Donald Trump. He says, in fact, the clip says, "I can't see anybody doing any more for our country." And Dr. Fauci went on the record. He said that in my tenure, I never publicly endorsed or supported any presidential candidate. In fact, I worked for all of them, both Democrat and Republican. He said that I did not authorize them to use my image, and he said that the quote that he's talking about was made in October, and it was made in October, and it was talking about what people were doing for the coronavirus in March, and he was referencing the early responders and the medical group. They were doing all that they could do with what they had, and he said they even took out the part about him saying the president needs to get those PPEs, masks and gloves to our hospitals and our first responders. And he also said that and Trump responded with an attack against Dr. Fauci after just showing the commercial endorsing him. Trump said, and in his tweet it says, Fauci. He says about Fauci. He says Tony's pitching arm is more accurate than his knowledge of the virus.
So I just like to mention two things, Eric, on your show. Today at 12:30, Governor Phil Murphy is going to announce $100 million in funding to keep our economic recovery moving. So you can see that on the governor's YouTube and Facebook page. He's going to announce New Jersey is receiving $100 million in funding to keep the economy recovering moving. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened. That's what's happening at 12:30 from Phil Murphy. Yeah, and also he made an announcement yesterday. Breaking news: indoor contact practices and competitions may resume for medium-high risk sports with proper health and safe protocols. That means he's going to allow New Jersey high school sports and indoors for basketball season and college basketball. But I don't know if that's going to be with fans.
Well, the success of the NBA was because they were in the bubble. They moved them and their families to a hotel, and they played out the season. What we're finding out with professional football is that they're not in the bubble. So every time you turn around, you're hearing of them postponing games because players.
So wait a minute, was the Monday? So
Good about the bubble, you can contain. You know what happens with the NFL? What they're doing now, they're canceling the games and they're rescheduling them, so they don't have to
Miss that money.
Yeah, lose that money.
Mm-hmm.
so was the Monday Night Football game canceled?
Oh no, not Monday night.
Not Monday night.
It was a game.
It was a Thursday night.
It was I think it was a Sunday game. The Patriots, one of the games were canceled.
Yes, because Cam Newton has the virus.
Exactly. I
Because
think it was the Patriots.
Yes. So they're moving that from I think it was a Monday night or a Sunday night to a
It's one of
Thursday
the
night.
games. I think tonight. I'll check real quick if you can keep going, Vincent.
Yeah. So next, Fox reporters ambush Biden on packing the court. Eric,
yes,
how do you feel about ambush interviews?
I don't think that the issue. I mean, I don't have an issue.
Fellas, I'm sorry. Buffalo and Tennessee will be playing tonight at 7:00.
Right. I don't
that
think
was
that. Listen, I don't think that.
Yes.
I think
That
when
was
you're
on Sunday.
okay, you asked me a question. I thought we.
Oh.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
right. So I don't have an issue with if you're running for especially if you're running for president of the United States. There is no ambush. You should be prepared to answer any question and all questions. There shouldn't be set questions that you should be asked.
Okay. Well, this was Biden's response. He said clearly to Fox News reporter, I think it was the Trump buddy. What's his? I won't say his name because I want to be accurate. Biden said, "I'm not playing Trump's game." He says, "Look at my record." He says, "Look at my record. Historically," and I will quote what I said: "Stacking the court is a boneheaded idea." And he says, "I'm not playing the Trump game," and he basically left it alone at that.
But why do you why do you call it an ambush? He's being interviewed as the Democratic nominee for the highest seat in the land. What question should be off limits?
Well, it's not the fact of the question being off limits. It's the fact of the way they did the questions. Ambushing, now, Democratic candidates have press conferences on a regular in which all the press gathers there and they get to shout out their questions. An ambush is when you know that they're going somewhere and you stop them in the process of it and then ask them a question. That's what he was talking about.
Okay.
Other in the news, four-star General Boyle, who was the actual star of the Gulf War I and a huge member in Gulf War II, just recently retired. He has now publicly spoke out about politics. He says, being a soldier, I never, ever, ever publicly speak about politics. He said, but when Trump started telling people to doubt the science of the virus, and he said that was one point. He said, when he started talking about the elections being rigged and forcing the country to go into a civil war, that raised an alarm for him. He said, but most important, it was disgusting to him when Trump said that people in the military are suckers and captive people in the military are losers. He said that him and a few other generals have now started to publicly endorse Biden and speak politics. Your comments, Eric?
You know what, man? I think all of this is, at some point, I don't have a comment. I want to get it over with. I do.
Exhausted, right?
I am exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm reading Dre Samra because he's always interesting, right? Because he's the voice of the other side. He says the point is that Fauci said it, whether in support of or not. I don't understand that. The president never such thing. I think that
Why don't he just call in because we can't read his writing?
yeah, I can't read your typing, man.
Call in, brother.
Dre may be saying, no, I'm saying this is a joke. I was gonna say Dre may be sharing the same drugs that Trump is taking. Because right now, bro, I gotta say that your typing is a little off. So I'm making fun.
God.
I'm making fun.
Okay. Now, they did a poll in Ohio, Trump country.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Now, 60% of Trump voters have decided, and these are white voters. And by the way, the Biden swing now is going before white blue-collar men. But they polled Ohio, the Trump country. 60% of the people that they polled said that they are voting for Biden for 3 reasons. And
wait a minute. Hold the 3 reasons.
60%.
I said hold the 3 reasons. Hold
Okay.
it. Caller, go.
Hello?
Yep.
Hi, Eric. This is Dre. How you doing?
Hey, man, what's good?
Hey, how you doing?
It was all
No,
meant
I'm
in.
not on drugs, but
Yeah, it was meant in as it said it was meant as a joke. Go ahead.
I know.
Okay.
No, I was just typing fast, and I'm also working at the same time. But that was just me typing fast. That's what it was. My point was that the ad may have said that, and Fauci may have said that he didn't say that in support of the president. But the point is that he said it all along, so it doesn't really matter.
So he said what?
Say all along.
That according to ad that the president did great and so on and so forth.
No, he didn't talk about the president all along. He
What did he
never
talk
said
about?
before.
So I guess the question is whether or not no, without getting into the weeds of it.
Hold on. He was
But-
supporting the first responders and the hospital workers for their work for handling COVID virus.
Yeah, but again, whether he said it or not, he did say that the president did a great job, and he did.
No, he didn't. He never
What
said
did he
the
say?
president did a great job. He never
So
said
that somebody was wrong?
How come the president and this?
So here's the question. So wait a minute. Wait.
People died.
Wait. No. Stop. So
Okay.
without getting into the weeds of it, here's the question that I want to ask. Was Dr. Fauci referring to the president, or was he referring to the first responders when he commented that a great job was being done?
He was responding.
I'm asking Dre, but I'm asking you get.
And they showed the clip in its entirety.
Vincent, you got to show restraint. We got a caller, right? And I'm talking to the caller who took the time to call in. So Dre, was he referring to the president, or was he referring to the first responders?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't. I haven't researched. I haven't seen the entire clip of Fauci ever even saying that. All I saw was a soundbite, just like any other, political event, any propaganda, a soundbite. So at the end of the day, it's a soundbite. He's doing the same thing that every other politician does, and he said it. He said it, whether it was whether it was in support of the president or whether it was towards the first responders.
Got it.
And then he said it.
Got it.
Okay.
All right.
Let me ask you this. Is it good for the president to manipulate someone talking about someone else and post it like they're talking?
I don't think it's good for anybody to do.
Well, that's a good question. Is it that exactly? Thank you, Eric.
Right.
That's a
So
good
this is
question.
what I'm
Anybody
getting.
has a right to
Right.
that.
So this is what I'm trying to get to. So I understand what Dre is saying, and we disagree on a lot of things, right? But I think what Dre is saying is this. Listen, you can't be in a in a pig pen with mud and then cry when you get dirty. So we're in the game of politics. They all use sound bites, all of them, and they all use them out of context, all of them. And so we can't single out one guy for doing it without without mentioning that everybody does it. So look.
But we haven't seen Biden do that.
Wait a minute. You're going to say to me that there's not a clip, whether in the primaries or now, that something hasn't been taken out of context. That's what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying there may be something in a clip that we could possibly research and find, but I have not seen Biden misrepresent anybody giving him praise.
No. See, now you're narrowing. Wait a minute. Now you're narrowing it down.
Statement that he said that the troops were losers and so on and so forth.
That was Trump that said that. No, that was Trump that said that. That was Trump that. Yes, Trump said that. Yes,
he said that. Send me a clip of him saying that.
I will send you. In fact, I'll pull it off of YouTube. In fact, one of the biggest persons that he talked about. Hold on, let me finish. One of the biggest persons he talked about was the senator from Arizona who just died.
So what? McCain was a loser. McCain was a loser.
But you just said he never said that.
No, different. Vincent. See, now here's what you're doing again. He said that McCain was a loser.
Yes.
Right. What Dre's saying, right, and I can't believe I'm defending you, Dre, but what Dre is saying is he said, send me a clip where he said that our troops are losers. See, different.
I'll send you the clip where he said our troops are suckers.
No.
Okay? And I'll send you the clip where he said that McCain was a loser. He's not a hero.
No, we agree that he said that.
Everybody knows that.
We all know that one. I'm asking about the other one.
Dre, I'm going to take this very personal because I'm ex-military, and I know a lot of men who have been captured. And to be called a loser and a sucker when you put your life on the line for people who never served in the military, and then it's an insult.
All right, listen.
Something. My sister is a vet herself. Her husband is still in the army, and he still serves, and he knows that's not true. So stop it. Stop being sensitive, dude.
All right, listen, guys. We're at 12. I'm in. All right, Dre. Thanks for the call. Dre. Thanks for the call. It's 12:02. All right. So we're at 12:02. We're at 12. Vincent, right? Thank you, Vincent. We're at 12:02. I'm throwing it to you. Got to end.
Okay. Well, listen. Above all, we know that this late stage of the game in terms of politics, there are two things that we can all agree on. One, we are exhausted with Donald Trump, and two, even though all the proof that is out there that people can research and find, that they still drink the Kool-Aid and find Donald Trump completely innocent and absorbed. What I want to say to you is this. Look for yourself. Check the sources. And check if they're reliable sources, because there are a lot of fake posts out there that give the resemblance of being official, and they're not true. But most of all, look for yourself in what you're experiencing. If you feel like there is a need for change, not against the Republicans, but against all politicians, then I urge you, because this is the last day to register to vote. Go out, register to vote in New Jersey, and get your mail-in ballots, make sure that they're correct, seal it in the security envelope as well as seal in the other envelope and sign it and send it in or take it to a drop box. But right now, we have to take back the power of the people, and the biggest power we have is voting. Don't take it for granted. Don't let your vote go to waste. Let it be counted. I'm Vincent Squire. On behalf of Eric Dawson, the King of Cobbler, and Diane, the Queen of Media. And we want to give thanks to Deidre Viney for her wonderful pearls of wisdom and how to keep a job. As always, we say, be safe, keep your distance, wear your mask, wash your hands, wear gloves if you have to, and above all, if you don't have to go out, stay at home. Because life, with existing change, and the world would change if you're no longer with us and fall victim to this virus. If it's God's will, we'll be back tomorrow to express the views and opinions and make changes in our lives. Good night, everybody.
Take care, guys.